Hello, everyone. It's Jerry at the Fledge. Welcome to another episode of Every Damn Day. And I haven't given a shout out to Jeremy Hurt in a while for that intro. So, shout out to Jeremy for getting that intro done for us. I'm sitting up in my office as usual. Going to probably mix it up starting next week and sit some other places. But I got my headphones on, brown hair, brown eyes. I've got my Accessiversity t-shirt on promoting Chris Knapp and all of that. And Chris is the one who suggested to us that we describe ourselves at the beginning for anybody who might be visually impaired. And of course, I sign at the beginning and end for anybody with hearing impairment. So welcome to Every Damn Day. And today on the show, we've got our good friend, Kimberly Lavon. How you doing, Kimberly?
Fantastic. How are you, Jerry?
I'm doing well. What you been up to today?
I have been running around like a crazy person, putting out fires and just having fun, doing all the things.
Did you have fun at the graduation last night for one and all?
It was amazing. The music, the people, the excitement, just the certificates. It was just incredible.
Yeah. So let's jump into talking about you and your projects. Tell us about you first.
So my name, for those of you who don't know me, is Kimberly Lavon. I am from the Lansing area, and I've been away at graduate school in Atlanta. Came back because of COVID, but so glad I did because I got to reconnect with so many incredible people and do so many awesome things. And I can't wait to tell you all about them. Yeah.
Were you born in Lansing?
I was actually, yes, I was. I was born in Lansing, and I moved to Mason, Michigan, where Malcolm X attended high school. Was there from elementary to high school, and then went to LCC for a bit. Met Dennis Preston, took a bunch of awesome humorous illustration classes, and then found Nick Sanchez, the famous artist in New York, and a few other artists at LCC. We bonded, all went to Kendall, where we got different degrees, and then a long time passed. I became a printmaker, did some stuff, and then I went to graduate school at Savannah College of Art and Design in Atlanta and graduated May 30th, 2020.
All right. And then came back to Lansing.
Yes.
So what have you been doing in Lansing? You want to tell us about One and All a little bit?
Oh my goodness. Yes. So One and All, for those of you who don't know, is an amazing entrepreneurship program. And I was one of over 20 people to be in cohort number 2. And through the program, I met the most incredible people. I learned what I didn't know that I needed to know for my business and what I need to do now and moving forward. I retooled everything and launched Thimble Media, publicity and marketing for fine art businesses. And it officially opens the doors April 1st.
Oh, it's not, your doors aren't open officially yet?
Nope, just lots of hype, lots of getting the word out and making sure people know that we're here. If you're an artist, art-based business, you have brand new services available at your disposal in the mid-Michigan and West Michigan area.
All right. So you still have ties to West Michigan because of Kendall and all that, or?
Yes, I've got a bunch of artists out there that are having the same struggles that we're having out here. They're trying to launch things like the Fledge and doing their own thing, but they also need help. They, like Kendall people, all the professors, the students, like they have a really dear space in my heart, and I want to be there for them and help them because they helped me when I was, brand new. So I want to give forward.
Yeah. So you came back to Lansing from Atlanta, and Atlanta, hot Atlanta, is really heating up these days, right? I mean, there's a lot going on. What are you glad you came back to Lansing?
I am thrilled to be back here. Like, I miss Atlanta so much and all the people and landmarks and like my favorite places to eat and so on. But I always felt like a tourist. Like they're just so wonderful, but my heart lives here. All my friends are here. Like every time I thought about Lansing, like I'd see pictures, like the landscape, even I miss the landscape. porches and all that stuff. It was weird, but I missed. But I'm so happy to be back, and I hope everybody else can keep an open mind and welcome the new me, because I'm not on the art making side anymore. I'm on the helping you make art side. So,
all right. So, my favorite person in Atlanta is Killer Mike. You ever meet him?
I saw him at a coffee shop, and he walked in, and I was having a meeting, and I just kind of stopped and was like, with my eyes just like staring at him the whole time. And my friend was like, "What? Who was back there?" And I just couldn't speak. And he orders, and he walks back, and he gets to the door, and I'm like, and I just raised my hand and looked at him, and somebody looks at me and goes, "Dude." And I just melted into a puddle. Like it was my closest experience to talking to somebody.
Yeah, I would have followed him around, I'm sure. So, yeah. Tell us about Kimberly Media. What are some of the struggles that people are having that you're going to help them solve?
So one of the biggest things is when you're a fine artist, you go to a really special place in your mind and like in your heart, or, wherever it is you go to make what it is you make. And that place is the exact opposite place that you go when you're doing anything business related. You're talking numbers and spreadsheets and business proposals, and that isn't a creative space. So when artists are enmeshed in what they're doing, whatever it is, sculpting, painting, printmaking, they don't want to do any of that stuff, but they need to, because they are everything, and they don't realize that. And that's one of the biggest things at school that they don't teach you, is that if you're going to be a fine artist, you have to be everything. You have to manage your own contracts. You have to figure out what galleries' responsibilities are for you. You have to deal with customer sales, returns, like online stuff. It's crazy. And how can you manage that when you're making art? And then obviously you probably have a job that isn't making art all the time. You got to balance that too. And then kids and stuff, that like, it's nearly impossible. But I was able to navigate the crazy waters. It took me way too long. I'm not going to say how many years, way too long. And now I'm in a space where I can help people. And I think it's going to be, hopefully it'll go global, because every artist on the globe needs help with this. So.
Do you run into the problem when you're talking to an artist that they're thinking, "Oh, you're too capitalist," or "I'm not an entrepreneur, I'm an artist"? Do you ever run into that?
I ran into an artist who was so like wrapped up with this expressive project he was working on, that when I literally came to him with words in a text that said, "I think your work is incredible. I want to help you with your project. I saw you got a, you're looking for money for this project, and I want to help you promote it. Like, I believe in you. I'm there for you 100%. He replied with, "I'm sorry you think we aren't successful enough that we need your services in the first place." Like, he was super insulted. And that was not what I was trying to get across at all. I just wanted to say, I'm here to help you. I think you're awesome. And it totally backfired. So I learned that artists, aside from that expressiveness and where they go when they make art, like, they're in that mind space when they're just walking around, and maybe they're not ready to have a conversation about business, or even, have it posed in a way that they find offensive. Like, I made a huge mistake and struck my foot in my mouth, and I'll never do it again.
Yeah. Well, how would you do it different if you did? I don't know if I'm putting you on the spot or anything, but I think it's an interesting space when you're talking with an artist about how they're going to sustain their livelihood, and they don't want to talk about money. They don't want to talk about marketing and management of a company. I mean, they're basically a company. They're an enterprise, but don't ever want to admit that. Yeah. Go ahead.
It's crazy. Like, I get the romantic idea about, don't sell out, and, stay true to your values, and, do your thing, and money will follow, and all that stuff. You can only do that for so long if the money isn't coming in. You have to feed yourself. You have to pay your bills. You have to find studio space if you do stuff that requires a studio space. And that is a tax write-off. That is part of a business. And, again, they don't cover this in school. I had one professional practices class in undergraduate, when I got my undergrad degree. I had one professional practices class in business, at the very end of my graduate degree, which happened 10 years after my undergrad degree. I didn't learn at these schools what I needed to. And I don't think it's a problem of the professors, because the professors were incredible. The structure, there's this massive hole, and maybe I'm like revealing too much, but like I want to be the answer to that massive issue, because that is what's perpetuating the starving artist myth, because it is a myth. We have Andy Warhol, Picasso, Frida Kahlo, and you have people like Once Upon a Time me, who are breaking their backs, moving heavy equipment and doing stuff at festivals to maybe break even if you're lucky. And then at the festivals, people want to dicker and deal with you. And like, you wouldn't do that at the dentist office. Why are you doing it with me? But they think it's like they're entitled to it. So there's all these layers to it. And then it makes you not want to make art. And it's hard enough to make art anyway. So why even make it? And then you have a bunch of artists who are starving because they're not making art and they're not making money from it. And then they just give up. I'm going to solve all those problems if anybody is here and wants help with that. Like, I'm the answer. I want to help you. You're not. If I'm not, I won't be successful if you aren't successful. This is all about you.
So what are some what's that relationship with an artist look like? Like, do you go in and do an evaluation, and how's that work? How's that start?
So let's pretend, Jerry, that you want to learn how to use that awesome monotype press in your studio. And you say, I'm starting out, I am making prints, and I have a bunch of work, but I don't know what to do with it. I don't know if I want to be a gallery artist or a festival artist, or, I need help with everything. I would say, okay, what are your 3 biggest headaches? What gives you the most stress? And then I'd watch you kind of melt down as you think about it. And then I'd talk you off a ledge, and I'd say, okay, well, I can definitely help you with those things. And then I would present you with a package of solutions and say, from our conversation, I have these 6 items available. I suggest X, Y, and Z for you. And at that collection would be X price. And, it would happen at this time, and we would follow your timeline. And then we would say, if you say, I don't know what my budget is, how much do I even spend on marketing and advertising? The answer is, for a small business, 10 to 20% of your top line earning revenue. If you're a bigger business, it could be 20 to 30, but 30 is probably the max. So that would help alleviate pressure on you to come up with a number like out of the blue. So you have a kind of a general idea, and then you can decide from there how much you want to invest in your company with me. And we can start as small as you want. We can start with 1 social media post. We could start with a campaign. We could start with something else, but it's all custom and it's all created after the conversation. So totally tailored to the customer.
So you've been doing some work in the last few weeks, right?
Oh yeah.
And do you want to talk about any of that work? Like as an example, or?
I think there's 2 people who deserve a shout out and a little highlight. So Red Bike Delivery, Jeremy Hurt, owner, operator, and I are working on his brand new branding campaign, close to completion, near launching soon. And then the lovely Leah Monet and I are working on a bunch of press kit materials, signs, some bookmarks, stuff like that for her opening at a bookshop. I don't know which one, but you should check her out at Leah Monet at her website and online, and also Red Bike Delivery. And then I have a few other people who are in the works and working with Thimble, but I have not yet gotten their approval to share. So just know that you guys, I know I see you, but we'll talk soon.
So Leah Monet, I know her well, and I know what she does. Is she in the artist space, and how's that work?
So going through the one and all cohort number 2, I did identify that my personal strength and where I have the most experience and passion and so on does lie with fine artists. However, through the cohort, I met so many incredible people, and we bonded over the same problems. We all have different businesses, but we all needed the same help in the same way. And I know how hard it is to get your business going when you have all of the things you need to work on. And I got to know their businesses intrinsically through the process. So through that, I feel like I can speak to their brands and their businesses as a professional, as an expert, because of that process. And that's the only reason why I'm working with non-fine art based businesses at the time, right now, because of that special connection. And in the future, potentially, Thimble may open a non-specific to fine art brand. And that is also in the works. So stay tuned for that.
I love that answer. That's what I was hoping for. I hope I didn't step out of what we had talked about earlier. So Mona David, she's such a great supporter of everybody, is saying, yay, you go out
Mona.
there. And of course, Jeremy's giving you a shout out, and your new best friend, Megan. No, I don't know. But you and Megan been chilling with each other for a while. And then an old friend of ours, Simone.
Oh my goodness.
Saying hello to us. So,
Yay.
yeah. So how would you kind of summarize your mission for Thimble? And is your mission for Thimble the same as your mission for Kimberly?
So Thimble's mission is to abolish the starving artist myth and to provide every artist everywhere with the tools and the resources they need to advance their businesses in any way that they see fit. So if it's being a gallery artist, a pop-up artist, an independent, whatever kind of artist they want to be, they know what they need, or they know where to get the help should they need it. And if all that fails, they can just come to me and say, here's a pile of stuff, please fix it. I will fix it. My personal mission, though, is along the same line. It's just broader. Doesn't just touch fine artists. It's to advance women's ability to do virtually anything, to walk around and feel safe, to be able to get a small business loan, to be seen as a human and not a walking sex object. I mean, I have overcome a great deal of obstacles as just being a woman and small, and being marginalized for being a petite woman, and a bunch of other things. But I think people are people, and you should judge them by the content of their character and treat them with respect, because you don't know what's happening in their lives. They could be dealing with a bunch of heavy stuff, and we need more positivity and less negativity everywhere. So I would hope people can just be open-minded and just be cool, man. Be cool.
Was it just a couple days ago, or is it coming up, the Equal Pay Day? I think it was 2 days ago or something like that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do, and I feel bad if I missed it. And if I did miss it, I need to have a redo.
We're definitely in the space of where it will be, because it's about 72% of a female gets paid about 72% of a male wages. So it would have been around the first third of the first 28% of the year. And in case anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, it's the day that basically women work for free to get equal pay to what the men do. So they have to work the first couple months of the year for free, not really, but for a lower wage and all of that before they're starting to catch up to a man. And that's not cool at all.
The pink tax, like being called the beast of burden, just all the terrible stuff. It's just, I'm over it. Can we just be good to each other, please? Can we not bring all that stuff into it?
Yeah. And then, COVID, I think that put an extra strain on women, in part because of that very reason. If there's a man and a woman in the house who's getting paid the most, even if they're doing the exact same thing, it's probably the man. And if somebody's going to stay home with the kids then for school, it's probably going to be the woman. So now they're set back more. Yeah.
And then if the woman was doing something like I'm doing, what does that mean for the business? Does the business shut down? Does it go on hiatus? Will the customers stick around? Do I give up my entire career? Do I go insane to take care of everyone but myself? Is anybody going to help me? I mean, I don't even have kids, and I'm not married. I've never been married, and I know the struggle because I watched my aunts and my mom and everybody else around me deal with it. And it's not going away. It needs to be better. It's 2021. Why are we not past this yet?
Yeah. So what's something you do every damn day to push both of those missions forward? The abolish the starting artist myth and getting more equality for women.
So the starving artist myth, I am a strong advocate for the arts of all kinds. Anytime I see something interesting or unique or of note, I share it on my personal page or share it in social media. If there's an artist doing something killer, I share their work and I tag them. I like celebrate art of everywhere as much as possible all the time. And in terms of women's rights, man, I created a sub-brand to my former fine art brand, Kimberly Lavon Inc., called Sour Hearts, which is a confectionate kind of invitation to go away permanently. So on the front, it would say things like, pardon my language, fuck off, go away, no, nope. And on the back was a legally binding document to keep a predator away from you for up to 3 years. The problem with the product was if a woman used it, and one did, there's the likelihood that the person she was giving it to would have immediate access to hurt her after she gives him said document was too high. So I had to make the product completely digital, but I made it open to all 50 states. There's resources for rape victims, for incest, for suicide hotlines in every state. It was listed, every state had a different color of heart. They were letterpress printed T-shirts, a whole social media campaign. And then it kind of was on tiny pause, but I'm planning to reopen it very soon.
All right. That sounds like a really cool idea too. So when I said in the prep that I wasn't going to ask you a zinger?
Oh man.
I have one that's it's not a zinger, but it's
but it's a zinger.
I'm curious about how you've evolved in some of your thinking from maybe 5 years ago to today. Do you mind if we go out on this limb and we can back?
Let's go out. Let's go deep.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Outside artists compared to classically trained artists, you that used to annoy you, right? Does that still annoy you?
No, it doesn't. And I'm Jerry. For those of you who don't know, Jerry and I've known Jerry for a while, not as long, not like super long, but long enough. So Jerry knows me as a person. He's seen me evolve as an artist and as a person. And that was one thing that I would historically get super enraged about. I was too much. I was too much energy. I've learned now that the value in art is, it doesn't matter if it's digital or, Renaissance or any period or, glitch art, for God's sakes, if that's the newest one, whatever. It's an expression. It's a physical manifestation of the person making it. It's their essence. It's their way of seeing the world, of seeing that thing or that object or that topic and expressing it individually. So there's zero way any human, any critic, anybody anywhere can put a value on it that is, the hard and fast rule. And that's where the subjectivity comes in, but it doesn't matter. There is beauty there. They were brave enough to put their mind on paper or in clay or whatever, in ink. And it's not something to be laughed at or made light of. And it's ignorant, frankly, to make public judgment that way. You can have an opinion, yeah, but you don't know what went into it, the cost of the materials, the time spent, the where they made it. If they had safe space to make it in, it's too much. And then after all that, then they're going to be brave enough to show you a part of their soul. How dare you even think you can judge it for a second? How dare I think it was okay to do that? I was arrogant and too abrasive and bold and angry, but I learned and I changed, and I'm happy to be here. And I hope that all of Lansing sees this and will welcome me with new open arms, because I'm a completely different human. and all I want to do is help. And if I send you random stuff, it's because that's how I show I care, is by helping. And I'm secretly an introvert as well. So if I don't call you back, it's because I just need a lot of me time. But I love you guys, and I want to help and be there and be myself, which is very enthusiastic and energetic, and it's a natural wellspring. So also be aware of that, because I can't turn it off, but I can, give it to you in a payment plan or something.
I thought you were going to have a good answer for that. That's why I took the risk. But you had a great answer for that. I really like the answer. And I actually, so now people that you deal with are also going to be classically trained and are also going to look at, me, who I just slap stuff up and whatever it looks like, and I'm just trying to get some emotion out, and they're going to be like, oh, he's a hack. How are you going to navigate that with some of your clients?
I actually had a friend make a really public, really hurtful, damning post about a young artist who came to him for advice. And so what happened was this kid had a lot of facial tattoos. He approached a friend of mine who is a mural artist and asked how to get into the business. And my friend said, well, I can tell you where to start, buddy. Maybe getting rid of those ugly tattoos on your face. I'm like, first of all, bro, I think there's a lot of really famous people who have a lot of facial tattoos. So clearly the facial tattoos aren't the problem. Maybe you're the problem. That was wrong of me to say it that way. But I was so passionate and angry that he was so, bold in his thinking and feeling that he could express it publicly, that I did that. And then I reeled it back and was like, I think you should take a step back and think about when you were starting out. Like, how hard was it for you, and how mean were people to you? And do you really want to give that legacy to the future artists? Like, aren't your kids going to be artists? Like, my dad was an artist. Now I'm an artist. Like, is that how you want this to go? And then just kind of was like, well, yeah, no, like, I don't want to be mean to them. And if your kid, your kid's going to draw kid art. Kids always draw kid art. It's not going to be fantastic. It's going to be fantastic to you. And yeah, this kid was like in his 20s, but he's still a kid. He's starting out. Like, be nice, dude. Just be nice.
So, I think that we're surrounded by art, right? I mean, there's nothing from the style of the mic that's in. We both have the same mic in front of us. I know that because you're in our studio. But that's art, and it's got a shape, and it's got style, and it looks good, and it makes me feel good when I'm, in front of this mic. I feel like it's real. And then our websites and our everything, our cars, the style of them. How many people are artists that we don't even realize are artists, do you think?
It's like immeasurable. Like, architecture, for God's sakes, like, it's just stunning. And this incredible bio art, like, people are growing houses and they're calling it art. Some woman filled up a house with concrete and made just a big mold of it, and it was terrifying in the most beautiful way. Yoko Ono had a piece that chilled me to the bone that I only learned about in grad school, called cut piece. She sat in a room with a bunch of people and allowed them to cut her clothing off of her for hours until she was completely naked. They almost cut her with the scissors because they were so hyped up about the experience. There's so many existing forms of art and forgotten arts and new arts, glitch art and stuff, that it's like, we're all artists. We're all creating all the time. Like, whether you consider yourself one or not is up to you. It's how you identify. But it's, we're making stuff. We're making relationships. We're making friendships. We're making stuff. Like, it's beautiful and crazy, and it's not really something you can put a label on. You should just let it be what it is and just enjoy it. And I feel like a lot of the problems we're experiencing are because of that. Like, we're just closed off to, accepting different ways of thinking, or, like I was when I was being judgmental of artists, which was, not cool. But I see the light now, and everybody should, because it's awesome over here. It's awesome.
I think that, your story you just told about that journey through your evolution as an artist into maybe the entrepreneurial side should motivate everybody out there to at least give you a call and see what you have to offer for them, because it's very passionate, and I think it's very, vulnerable at some point, but that's the hero's journey, right? Is you start there and you get through that, and now, yeah, with everything you've done, your art, the one and all, it's all coming together, huh?
It literally, like, overnight, like the minute graduation happened, it was like the world opened itself up to me, and I feel like $1 million.
So we daisy chain the shows together. Yesterday we had on the show Jay Price, who is the owner of the Chronicle newspaper, a Black-owned newspaper that's been around for 35 years in Lansing. And he wants to know from you, how did COVID impact like your business model, your plan? Because I imagine you're a social person, that you want to interact with your customers, and that maybe the Zoom doesn't always do that for you. What were some other things besides just Zoom that you did to really try to still have that contact?
I sent vintage postcards and handwritten notes just randomly to friends. I would send them like $5 in Venmo and be like, get yourself a coffee, and like take a picture and send it to me, and I'll say take the same, and it'll be like we're in the same place. Like, I invented little things to make it feel like we were still in person even though we weren't, and would make little tiny pieces of art and send it in little tiny envelopes that sometimes got lost in the mail, which I learned, but that was fun. And I learned how to better communicate over Zoom to instill the passion and the fire that I always have in person, but through a computer screen in a way that is palatable to many audiences.
He said he closed most of his deals over a meal. Once you got somebody eating, it was really easy to keep their attention and all of that. And he didn't quite have a substitute yet. So tomorrow on the show, I have Ruben from Washington Avenue Advisors. And what question would you like me to pass to Ruben?
I think the most important question for Ruben would be, does money make you happy?
That's a good one. Does money make you happy? And we're going to have a couple follow-on questions to that.
I'd say it's making me happy now because it was the missing piece I needed to get health insurance and medication for my asthma and a safe place to live. So for that reason, yes. But if I could get those things without money, then it wouldn't make me happy.
So there's many studies that show that money up to about 65, it's probably in the 80s now, but like 80,000 a year, anything above that does not increase one's happiness at all. But having that safety net between the Alice threshold and the $80,000, it can give a lot of ease, a lot of tension gets removed. So you want to tell everyone what the Alice threshold is?
Well, from my layman's perspective and how I can break this down it is the poverty level line. It's the amount of money that you take in per year that equals if you make enough to survive and feed yourself and your family, or if you're desperate and struggling to make ends meet and maybe you can't afford health insurance or a car or even a house to live in. And that's the line that separates the people who have and the people who have not.
Yeah. I think once you get your basic needs covered, money doesn't do much more for you after that.
No.
There's only so many times you can go on a Ferris wheel or whatever the hell people do to get happy.
Honestly, seriously.
So let's go back to happy, though. What is happiness to you, and are you happy?
I'd say happiness to me is, okay, I hope I have enough time to say this, is really old, beat up movie set looking cars and beautiful, huge buildings, skyscrapers, and concrete jungle, and kittens, and crazy socks, and art, and intellectually stimulating conversations. And am I happy? Yes, I'm elated. I had a massive breakthrough in my business. I had a big breakthrough in my personal life. I've overcome so many milestones, and in living in poverty, I put myself through graduate school by myself. And I lived in the most dangerous neighborhood in all of Atlanta and didn't know it. And not only did I survive all those crazy experiences, I also survived COVID, and I have asthma. And I just feel I'm feeling pretty strong and capable and confident. And I would love to work with people who feel the same and want to work on their creative businesses with somebody like me.
I love that answer. What gives you hope?
Oh man, I'm gonna get emotional maybe. What gives me hope is my niece Cheyenne. Oh man, I'm getting emotional. She is 2, and she is just so cute and reminds me of tiny me, and like when she gets scared when the door closes too loudly, or likes to eat junk food too much. Like, she's just the apple of my eye, and I cannot wait until we can have conversations like I'm having with you now, and make art more often, and talk about boys and all the things.
That sounds spectacular. What we forget to promote or to talk about?
I think I did mention that I have 2 websites. One is Kimberly-Lavon.com. That's my personal website. And my business website is thimblemedia.biz. And my Instagram handle is @thimble.media. And everybody should check out all of those things. Give me all the feedback if you so choose, and or shoot me an email to work with me, or shoot me some support, because I'm also embarking on a new endeavor with the Built to Last program, and I want to be bringing more of this awesome to you should I be the lucky winner of said program.
Is that all?
For now. But please stay tuned online and check me out and like engage and send me notes and stuff.
So I put the websites in the comments over there. I think they're also in the document that we published with the show. What would you like to take us out with?
I'd say people, like, the weather's changing. It's getting nice. Like, COVID is still upon us, so please wear your masks, honestly, like, for not for your own sake, but for mine and everybody around you. But prepare for awesome. Like, we're going to be out and about and be able to do things, and there's a new endeavor coming to you that you can come and see at any time after 5 p.m. So just gear up, prepare, grab your hand sanitizer, and get ready for awesome, because it's coming.
Thank you so much for being on the show, and thanks for coming back to Lansing, and thanks for being an advocate for women and artists and people in general.
Thank you, Jerry.
We will see you all tomorrow. We've got Ruben. We'll be asking him that question, and Every Damn Day is on every damn day at 2 p.m. So we will see you later. See ya.